The old man next door does his morning exercises before 5 o'clock every day, shouting, "Hey, hey, ha ha," and waking up the whole neighborhood. No one dares to scold him because if they do, he just clutches his heart, lies down and demands money for medical bills. Even the police can't do anything about him. It wasn't until the rent in the neighborhood dropped by half that I happily moved in. On the first day, having suffered from severe insomnia for 10 years, I had just fallen asleep at 5 when the morning exercise old man woke me up. My neighbors advised me to just endure it and not provoke him. With dark circles under my eyes, I gave a cold smile. What's a 5 o'clock morning exercise? Just wait until I knock on his door at 1 in the morning. After toiling in big tech companies for over a decade, I developed a severe case of insomnia. Fortunately, I had some savings, so I simply resigned and returned to my hometown, renting an apartment in a neighborhood that was suspiciously cheap. As it turned out, my insomnia didn't get any better. I tossed and turned until 5 in the morning. Just as I finally felt a bit of drowsiness and was about to drift off, sudden "eh hey ha ha" shouting came from downstairs. The noise literally jolted me out of bed, and a surge of anger rushed to my head. To me, disturbing my sleep is worse than being cheated on. For an insomniac, falling asleep naturally is harder than climbing to heaven. I pushed open the window and saw an old man jogging in the small plaza below, shouting slogans. His voice echoed throughout the entire complex. I glanced at the clock. It was only 5 in the morning. Trembling with rage, I yelled down at the top of my lungs, "Are you in such a hurry to be reincarnated? Shut your mouth. Does the king of hell not want you yet?" The morning exercise old man stopped in his tracks immediately. He looked up and started pointing at the building as if counting the floors. After he finished, he jogged straight toward my building. Moments later, my security door was being pounded on loudly. "I saw you clearly from the 6th floor. It's you. Open up right now." I've never seen someone disturb the peace and then have the nerve to come looking for a fight. Wearing my pajamas, I yanked the door open. A strong smell of leaks hit me instantly. "Was that you cursing at me just now? Who are you?" "I'm the one exercising downstairs. Don't deny it. I counted the floors. It was you." I quickly covered my nose to block that breath, which smelled like a biological weapon. "I did curse at someone, but how do you know I was cursing at you?" The old man was clearly taken aback, huffing and puffing. "If you weren't cursing at me, who were you cursing at?" "I've seen people pick up money or bags, but I've never seen someone so eager to pick up an insult. Are you addicted to scavenging trash or something?" The old man's face turned dark with rage, and he wheezed as he pointed a finger at my nose. "I was the only one downstairs exercising. Who else could you be cursing? I have severe myopia. From 6 floors up, how could I possibly see it was you?" I was shouting slogans. "Are you deaf? Oh, so you're saying you knew you were barking like a dog before dawn and disturbing my sleep?" Hearing this, the old man raised his hand to slap me. I simply thrust my face forward. "Go ahead, hit me right here. Make sure you don't miss." The old man's cloudy eyes darted around as he sensed something was wrong. His hand froze midair. He looked up and saw the security camera above the door staring right at his face. He quickly lowered his hand and spat on the ground. "Trying to set me up? I won't fall for it." I looked at him with feigned regret. "You're pretty quick on your feet. I was hoping to squeeze a couple thousand out of you." The old man's eyes widened. "You dare try to extort me? When I was out extorting people, you were still wearing split-crotch pants and playing with mud? My heart condition is acting up now. You won't get away today." "Old man, this thing records audio too." Hearing this, the old man scrambled up from the floor with a sudden burst of energy. He glared at me viciously. "You've got guts, kid. We'll see about this." After his parting threat, he stomped back downstairs, cursing all the way. Once he was gone, any sleepiness I had was completely gone. Since resigning and returning home, I hadn't looked for a job. The interest from my savings from the big tech job was enough to live on for a while, so I wasn't worried. As I was eating my takeout breakfast buns, I heard noise outside again. I opened the door to find my neighbor, an auntie. "Young man, did you provoke old Zhao?" "Which old Zhao? You mean that old thing who's out walking himself early in the morning?" He was making noise, so I said a few things. The auntie stomped her feet in anxiety. "You're being foolish. Don't you dare provoke that old ghost. Too many people in our complex have suffered at his hands." She then proceeded to list the old man's glorious achievements. Old Zhao was also a tenant. When he first moved in, he would bang on the walls and sing all day. Neighbors and the landlord protested. The landlord even offered to refund his money to get him to leave, but he refused to move, throwing tantrums and refusing to budge. He claimed he had a heart condition and that if anyone touched him, they'd have to pay his medical bills. He literally forced all the neighbors above and below him to move out. Once he saw no one was left to bother, he shifted his focus. Every morning he circles the complex, disturbing everyone indiscriminately. Everyone from the property management to the local authorities has tried to deal with him, but no one could stop him. And then, simply disturbing the peace wasn't enough for his twisted mind anymore. He started targeting female residents, from elderly ladies dancing in the plaza down to schoolgirls. He didn't care who it was. There was even a high school senior girl who rented a basement room to study for her exams. While she was showering, that old pervert peeked through the window. Halfway through her shower, the girl looked up and saw a disgusting, lecherous old face wedged in the window gap. This incident traumatized her so badly she fell into severe depression and even gave up on the college entrance exams. Her family favored sons over daughters, so they just took her back to the countryside and married her off to anyone. A girl's entire life was ruined just like that. But that old beast didn't lose a single hair. He even sat at the complex entrance every day, bragging to everyone about how fair and tender the girl's body was. Now everyone in the neighborhood avoids him like he's dog poop on the sidewalk. Seeing that no one dared provoke him, he got even bolder, loitering in elevators to corner girls who were alone, touching their faces and lifting their skirts, committing all sorts of evil. Although he was beaten up a few times by angry parents and spent a few days in the police station, he became even more insane once he got out. Because of this one old cancer, the entire neighborhood has been in turmoil, and even the property values have been driven down. The auntie earnestly advised me, "Young man, don't be impulsive. You have a bright future ahead. If we can't afford to provoke him, we can afford to hide. Hurry up and move to another neighborhood for your own safety." After hearing all this, the energy accumulated from my long-term insomnia suddenly flooded every cell in my body. Since I can't sleep anywhere anyway, I might as well stay here and have some fun. "Auntie, don't you worry. What's a 5 o'clock morning exercise? Has he ever tried someone knocking on his door at 1 in the morning? I can play with an old scumbag like him for a whole year." During the day, I managed to take a nap, but as night fell, my brain felt like 1,000 soldiers were dancing in it again. I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. At exactly 5 in the morning, the hey ha sound started up right on time. I instantly felt energized. I threw on my tracksuit, ran downstairs, and shadowed the old man right at his heels. As he walked and did chest expansions, shouting "hey," I stayed exactly 1 meter behind him and immediately echoed "hey." The old man jumped in fright. He looked back, saw it was me, snorted, and turned back to continue. I stayed glued to him, chanting "hey, hey, hey." "Who was it that sent you to my side?" He stopped abruptly. "What exactly are you trying to do, following me like this?" I didn't even look him in the eye and kept going. "It was that 1,000-year-old turtle bastard." The old man stood dazed for a few seconds before finally realizing I was insulting him indirectly. He raised his hand in a rage to slap me. Overjoyed, I immediately thrust my face forward. Terrified, he stopped his hand midair, nearly choking on his own anger. He pointed a trembling finger at me. "I'm doing my morning exercises. How is that any of your business? Why the hell are you following me? You do your thing, but a good dog doesn't block the way. Why are you blocking me?" The old man's face turned bright red. He turned and kept running, even secretly picking up the pace. But how could his old legs outrun me? We kept a distance of less than a meter. Every time he shouted, I followed. The whole neighborhood was in an uproar. What was supposed to be his solo concert had been turned into a two-man show. According to the auntie, this old thing usually walks 5 laps around the complex for over an hour, and won't stop until everyone is woken up. Only when he's satisfied does he go get breakfast. But today, after being hounded by me for 1 lap, he rushed toward the breakfast stall at the entrance in a huff. I followed right behind him, mocking him sarcastically. "Day, why only 1 lap today? Is it because you're getting old and can't keep up? Are you weak?" The old man had just taken a sip of hot soy milk and sprayed it all over the table. He pointed his spindly, chicken claw-like finger at me, shaking like he had Parkinson's, unable to get a word out for a long time. Finally, he threw down half a fried dough stick and stomped home. "You little brat, you just wait." I didn't talk back. Just followed him all the way to his building with a smile on my face. I watched which floor he went to before turning to leave. As I entered my own building, I ran into the neighbor auntie again. She grabbed me, her eyes full of worry. "You went head-to-head with old Zhao today, didn't you? I wondered why the noise only lasted 10 minutes this morning. You must be careful. That old bastard's family are all thugs." "Don't you worry, auntie. The bully is afraid of the reckless, and the reckless is afraid of the one who doesn't care about his life." I gave her a very calm look. By the second day, who would have thought this old scumbag would sneak downstairs at 4:30 a.m.? He was clearly determined to play overtime with me. He probably doesn't know that for an insomniac. This is the most energetic time of day. When the old man looked back and found me sticking to him like a ghost again, a cold smirk played on his lips. "Kid, old people don't need much sleep, but you young people can't afford to waste your time like this." His eyes were full of provocation, clearly asking if I really wanted to fight him to the end. "It's fine, Daye. Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy." The old man snorted and began his hey ha ha routine again. I stuck to him like a band-aid. "Wow, Daye, why is your voice so weak today? Is it because you didn't eat? Is it because you have an enlarged prostate and frequent urination so you didn't sleep well? Hey, Day, slow down. Don't throw out your back. Do you want me to call an ambulance to stand by? Those legs of yours look shaky to me." The old man's back stiffened, but he stubbornly kept up his shouting, even raising his volume. I continued the mental pollution in his ear. "Day, that shout just now lacks stamina. According to Chinese medicine, you definitely have kidney deficiency. You need to supplement with some grilled kidneys. That last roar was okay, but your lungs sounded like they have a rusty fan in them. Are your tonsils swollen? Keep shouting. Why did you stop? If you don't shout, I can't check your pulse." This time, the old man couldn't even last half a lap. He turned and headed straight for the breakfast stall, but it was so early the owner hadn't even set up yet. He could only stand there shivering in the cold. "Day, eating street food this early isn't healthy. That barbecue stall over there hasn't closed yet. Let me buy you 2 big kidneys to boost your energy." The old man rolled his eyes, clutched his chest, and started to sink to the ground. "You little brat, don't you dare run. My heart condition is acting up." I immediately called emergency services, then lunged at him, pinning him down under my weight. I rolled up my sleeves, ready to rescue him. I balled up my fist and started pounding on his chest, wailing loudly, "Day, you have to hold on. Our game has only just begun." He was pinned so tightly he couldn't move, and my heavy resuscitation punches made him cough violently, nearly making him pass out. It wasn't until the ambulance arrived that he managed to save his life. Who would have thought that, as soon as the old scumbag was lifted into the ambulance, he would call the police? In the emergency room, he grabbed the officer's arm and started lying through his teeth. "It's this little bastard who gave me a heart attack. You have to make him pay until he's bankrupt." When the responding officer saw it was this notorious troublemaker again, he could only sigh and shake his head. However, when the surveillance footage was retrieved, the screen showed I was at least a meter away and hadn't touched a single hair on his body. In fact, after he collapsed, I had heroically rushed forward to perform CPR. Once the police determined I was a good Samaritan, the old man started throwing a fit on the hospital bed. "You're all ganging up on an old man? I'm going to the station tomorrow to demand justice." A senior officer nearby immediately darkened his face and spoke sternly. "If you keep making a scene like this, you're going to spend a few days in detention. By the way, the food in there was just downgraded, only watery soup and hard-steamed buns." Hearing that he wouldn't get good food in detention, the old man shut up instantly, like a turtle caught by the neck, only able to glare at me with venomous eyes. Seeing his expression, which was worse than if he'd eaten feces, I was overjoyed. I happily went back to sleep. Despite my hardcore CPR, the old scumbag was back in full health within a day. At 4 a.m. on the third day, he appeared downstairs right on schedule. I scrambled up like I'd been injected with adrenaline and followed him. He was yawning, and when he saw me, his face turned black. "Don't you ever sleep?" "Oh, Day, how did you know?" The old man nearly spat out blood. He stood there coughing violently. Today, he didn't even run. He picked up a wooden stick and started smashing the fitness equipment in the plaza. The clanging sound of metal was ear-piercing, echoing throughout the complex. "You little brat. Nobody in this neighborhood has ever dared to challenge me." Seeing how loud he was, his heart condition must have been fully cured. I pulled a 5 or 6 meter long iron-tipped whip from behind my back. "Day, keep your eyes open. If I hit you, I'm not taking responsibility." As soon as the words left my mouth, I started swinging. The tip of the whip made loud cracking sounds as it tore through the air, several times passing right in front of his face. "You dare hit me? I'll make you pay until you don't even have underwear left." Seeing that I ignored him and just kept swinging, he tried to rush me a few times, but was forced back by the whistling whip. He had no choice but to curse and move elsewhere to continue his banging. I followed him like a shadow, keeping a distance of a few meters, just far enough not to hit him but close enough to scare him to death. After a few minutes, he completely lost heart, gave me a vicious look and slinked away. I let out a cold laugh. I put away the whip and went back to sleep. To my surprise, the next morning as soon as the old man started shouting, I opened my door to a sickening smell of slop. 2 bags of foul-smelling trash had been dumped right at my doorstep. Perfect. I was waiting for you to pull this move. Excitedly, I grabbed the 2 bags of rotten trash and ran downstairs. The old man was standing there with a cold smirk, as if to say, "What can you do against me?" Without a word, I lifted the bags and dumped them right over his head. The foul slop, mixed with rotten vegetables and bones, poured down over his balding head. The old man was stunned for a full half-second before letting out a pig-like squeal. Before long, 2 police officers arrived. Seeing the old man covered in rotten vegetable leaves, their shoulders shook as they tried to stifle their laughter. In front of the officers, I immediately put on a sincere face and bowed repeatedly to apologize. "I'm so sorry, Daye. I thought trash belonged with an old man like you, but I guess you weren't happy about it. My mistake. I wish you a long life, just don't die too soon." The officers gave me a brief lecture and then slipped away, leaving the old man screaming in rage with no one to listen. He could only slink home in a foul-smelling mess to shower. That same day, I was added to a secret WeChat group by a mysterious person. It was full of homeowners who had been victimized by this old man. There were hundreds of them. As soon as I joined, the group erupted. "Brother," a girl with a beautiful profile picture even sent me a private message. Asking a chronic insomniac to drink coffee at night. That's asking for my life. I immediately blocked her. At that moment, someone in the group warned me, "Brother, be careful. That old bastard has a son in a gang. He's known for being ruthless and even worse than his father." Seeing the group's unanimous support made my blood boil. "Everyone, rest easy. I have no partner and no job. I'm a total loner. Even if the King of Heaven comes, I'm not backing down." Since this old scumbag had bullied me at my own doorstep, I had to strike back. At exactly 1 a.m. on the 5th day, I went downstairs and started pounding on old Zhao's security door. The house was silent. I started kicking the door with my feet. Since he had already driven everyone else on this floor away, I didn't worry about bothering innocent neighbors. After 10 minutes of kicking, the old beast finally snapped. "Get the hell away, you little brat. Daye, look at the time, get up and do your morning exercises. It's freaking 1 in the morning. Do you have a hole in your brain? Whoa, Daye, your eyes are sharp. Did you used to sell miracle pills under a bridge? If you dare knock one more time, I'll call my son and have him hack you to death." "Why are you talking about killing? Daye, look, it's almost dawn. You're young. If you don't get up and work hard now, how will you get a good grave when you're dead?" Just as the old man was losing his mind and about to open the door to fight, I slipped away and ran back upstairs. At 2 a.m., I went back down and started banging again to give him another lesson, then again at 3 a.m. By morning, the old scumbag couldn't even get out of bed. My nighttime lessons had failed to make him self-disciplined. The homeowners group exploded again. I woke up early just to watch the show, but this old bastard actually bailed on me. I used this midnight knocking tactic to exhaust him for an entire week. By myself, I managed to bring this chaotic neighborhood back to order. Honestly, seeing the group chat filled with praise, I felt for a moment like I had a halo. It wasn't until that evening, when I went down to buy dinner, that I was cornered by the old man at the entrance. Standing behind him was a large, bald, muscular man with full-sleeve tattoos and a fierce face. The old man jumped around like a rabid dog with a master, pointing at my nose. "Son, this is the brat. Mess him up." I calmly adjusted the sports body cam on my chest and gave a provocative smile, waiting for the storm. The tattooed thug raised his massive fist, but as soon as he saw the flashing red light on my chest, he froze. "So you're the one who wants to die and dares to mess with my dad?" "What did you say? You want me to be your dad? Don't be silly. I'm only in my 30s. I couldn't have fathered such a big rebellious son." The tattooed thug snorted. "Stop with the smooth talk. When I was in the gangs, you were still in diapers. You're over 30. You must have a kid, right? Which kindergarten? Believe it or not, I'll find them. Sorry, I'm single and childless. No kids? Then a wife or girlfriend? Believe it or not, I'll take my brothers too. Even more sorry, I've been single since birth. What are you talking about? I spent all my time working in big tech for money until I went nearly bald. Who has time for women?" The thug was stunned and looked at his wicked father in confusion. The old man nodded guiltily. "This kid really is a lone dog. I've never seen a woman or child enter his place." I gave the old man a thumbs up. "Die. Those bird eyes of yours are quite observant." The tattooed thug lit a cigarette in frustration. "Fine. So you're a purebred bachelor. You must have a job, right? Believe it or not, I'll go to your company." I turned to the old man with a smile. "Die, you hang out in the neighborhood all day. Have you ever seen me go to work?" The old man stammered for a while before finally admitting reluctantly. "This little punk really does seem to be an unemployed bum." The thug was completely silenced, his face turning green with frustration. "Over 30, no wife, no kids, renting a crappy apartment and no job? You're even more of a loser than me." He poked the air with a thick finger. "My dad's morning exercise is his only hobby. If you keep messing with him, watch your life." I casually tapped my body cam and nodded obediently. Understood. Understood. Threats and intimidation recorded in high def. I'll just pack this up and send it to the influencers in the neighborhood group to post online. This counterattack is about to become a viral series. Seeing their threats were useless, the father and son slinked off, cursing. The next morning, the filial tattooed son actually came to provide protection. He accompanied the old man for his morning exercise, but he looked like he wanted to die, with massive dark circles under his eyes as if he might drop dead on the road. I grabbed my camera and headed out, determined to get a first-person immersive video. This kind of content would definitely go viral.
Die! Hey, hey, ha!
The tattooed man, tortured by the noise and severely sleep-deprived, snapped. He threw a kick at me. I was prepared. Following his weak kick, I slid smoothly onto the cold asphalt. Instantly, the surrounding dark buildings seemed to receive a signal. Lights flickered on all at once. Crowds of people leaned out of windows and balconies, shouting at the top of their lungs. "Gangsters are attacking people in the street. Call an ambulance." He kicked the brains out of him. "Save him. Our whole neighborhood is here to witness." Within 3 minutes, police sirens wailed. Hundreds of homeowners who had been resentful for a long time flooded out of the buildings like a tide, surrounding the father and son so tightly that even a fly couldn't escape. The lead officer knelt down with a serious expression. "Brother, how do you feel? Can you breathe? Should I call an ambulance?" I clutched my head in pain, looking dazed. My head, so dizzy. "I feel like I'm going to vomit. Call the ambulance. The victim has vomiting symptoms, suspected concussion." Seeing me faking it, the tattooed thug went crazy and tried to kick me again. "Bullshit. I didn't even touch your head." Before he could finish, 2 strong officers pinned him face down onto the concrete with a perfect joint lock. The hundreds of onlookers instantly became messengers of justice, testifying in unison that the thug had tried to kill me with his kicks. The old man saw things were going south and tried his old trick of clutching his heart and lying down, but hundreds of people just treated him like dog poop. No one even looked at him, at the station with irrefutable evidence. The tattooed man tearfully paid 5,000 RMB in medical compensation. I immediately turned around and spent all 5,000 RMB on high-end pistachios and snacks, leaving them at the security booth and telling everyone in the group chat to help themselves. This move made me a legend. The neighborhood turned into a sea of joy. That night, the old man got so angry thinking about it that he actually had a real heart attack. He was taken away by an ambulance and spent half a month in the hospital. His tattooed son lasted less than a week taking care of him before breaking down. The son paid a few $100 to hire the cheapest illegal laborer to help and then ran away overnight. The night the old scumbag was taken by the ambulance, the homeowners raised money to buy a truckload of fireworks. The popping lasted all night. It was a true celebration. Finally, the neighborhood enjoyed half a month of peace at that moment. My massive severance pay from the tech company finally hit my account, over 500,000 RMB. My former employer was indeed generous. I called the bank to look for high-yield investments. As a top-tier VIP, the branch manager insisted on picking me up personally. I couldn't refuse, so I agreed. The next morning, the bank's car was waiting. The manager and a clerk in crisp uniforms greeted me with smiles. To look the part, I dug out my old interview suit. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw that wretched old man watching us from nearby. I ignored him and drove off, looking through the rear window. I saw the old bastard pedaling a rusty electric tricycle behind us at top speed. Even the driver was stunned. "Look at that old man, he's drifting in that tricycle." Working through the VIP channel was fast. In less than half an hour, everything was done. The manager walked me out, but as we reached the door, a pig-like squeal erupted. Bank leaders are bullying common people. They have no conscience. They beat and insulted an 80-year-old man. They bang on doors at night and don't even spare little girls. It's an outrage. That old scumbag had even prepared banners and hung them on his tricycle. He knelt at the bank entrance wailing. When he saw me, he lunged like a rabid dog, grabbing my sleeve and shouting at the crowd. Neighbors, look at this. This man is a big official at the bank. He curses me, hits me, and won't let me sleep. He even threatened my granddaughter. He gave me a heart attack and sent me to the ER. Look everyone, here's my hospital bill. He held up a stack of papers. Who dares keep their hard-earned money in a bank run by such a beast? Is there no justice for us common folk? A crowd quickly gathered 3 layers deep. The bank manager panicked and tried to pull the old man away. Day, you've got the wrong person. This is our client, not an employee. The old man shoved the manager away. Stop covering for each other. You say he's not your employee just to dodge responsibility? I saw you pick him up in your car. You're wearing the same uniforms. He's definitely a big leader. The crowd started whispering and filming. This is too much. Yeah, society is so dark. Can the bank just do whatever they want? They're just a service industry. How dare they treat people like this? It looked like the bank had met its match. Once this hit the internet, the branch would be in trouble. The manager, a seasoned veteran, signaled his staff to call the police and tried to pull the old man into an office. The old man shook him off. Don't try your tricks on me. I don't fall for your backroom deals. You must explain this in front of everyone today. On the surface, the old man was trembling with rage, but his eyes hid a smug triumph. I'd seen enough. I walked forward slowly. He thought I was surrendering and prepared to curse me out, but I turned to the crowd instead. Everyone, feel free to record, but don't post it online yet, or you might end up in jail. When the police arrive, please be my witnesses. Seeing I wasn't scared, he pointed at me and yelled, "Is everyone blind? I'll give you 2 choices. Either resign and pay me, or I'll sue you until you're fired and have to pay anyway. Or, if you prefer, get out of our neighborhood and act like a decent human being from now on, and I'll let the past go." Seeing the look in his eyes, I realized he had staged all this to force me to leave the neighborhood. It felt suspicious. Before I could think it through, the police arrived. It was the same 2 officers. "Dai, what kind of show are you putting on today?" The old man spat. "See how you cover for him now. I caught him red-handed. He works here. Even the leader picks him up. If you don't give me a satisfactory answer, I'll sleep in this bank lobby tonight." The 2 officers looked at each other and then at me helplessly. They checked my ID. A minute later, "Dai, we checked. This man is currently unemployed." "Bullshit. I saw him get out of the bank's car. You're still protecting him. We'll go to the media and expose your corruption." During the standoff, an old lady pushed through the crowd. "Move out of the way. I need to do my banking." The old man blocked the door like a guardian. "Until this brat is fired, no one gets in." The lady didn't say much. She just slapped him hard several times. "Who let this old thing out of the sewer? Get lost." The old man's face turned red. He was about to curse. But seeing her fierce expression, he cowered. He was a classic bully who feared the strong. "I've been banking here for 10 years and I've never seen this man work here a single day." Hearing this, other regular customers joined in. "Yeah, I know everyone here. There's no such person. Use your eyes. His suit is completely different. A good dog doesn't block the way. Get out of the way so we can do our business." The old man was stunned, his lips trembling. "Impossible. I saw it with my own eyes." He grabbed the manager's arm like a lifeline. "I don't care. You must know him. Even if he's not your employee, you have to pay me, or I'll come back every day until you close down." The manager was frustrated. "Day, you're being unreasonable." The 2 officers had seen enough. They hauled him up. "Day, you've caused a huge scene today, disturbing public order and slander. Let's go have some tea." I went along to give a statement, insisting that his slander caused me great mental distress and demanding a large compensation. He started his act again, crying that he was poor. I sneered. "Then you can just enjoy your retirement in detention. It'll give our neighborhood some peace. When you're gone, property values will definitely bounce back, and the homeowners will set off fireworks for 3 days to celebrate." Hearing this, he panicked and called his son. I could tell he was being scolded on the phone, but in the end, the son paid over 20,000 RMB in compensation. As he left the station, the old man called his son again. My sharp ears heard everything as I followed him. "Son, is this plan of yours really going to work? Your dad's old bones are falling apart. The property prices haven't budged. That new kid is a nightmare. He doesn't fall for anything. If we don't force him out, our plan to buy up the cheap apartments will fail." The son's voice was clear. "Shut up. I've secured the bank loan. As long as we crash the prices by half, we'll buy 10 units. When you move out and a year passes, the prices will skyrocket, and we'll make millions." Hearing this, the old man got a boost of energy. "Fine, I'll risk my old bones today." As soon as he entered the complex, he pulled out a megaphone and started running around like a zombie. "Listen up, you cowards. The kid in 7301 is messing with me while you all watch. Fine. From today on, I'm picking a random door every hour to bang on until you all go crazy. If you want to blame someone, blame that kid in Building 7. I don't work. I have all the time in the world." I almost laughed out loud following him. This old dog was actually using the sowing discord stratagem from the Art of War. Sure enough, the homeowners group chat went into a frenzy. "We're doomed. That old mad dog is biting everyone now. We won't get any sleep. The worst part is it's a mystery box. No one knows whose door he'll knock on. Brother, maybe just apologize to him before. He only made noise at 5 a.m. At least we could get some sleep then." Some spineless person actually posted that. The group went silent. I bet half of them were ready to back down. "Apologize? Do you have water in your brain? No way." I spoke up in the group. "I will never apologize. That word isn't in my dictionary. If any of you try to stab me in the back or betray me, bring it on. I'll take you all on by myself." Seeing the tension, the auntie jumped in to try to smooth things over. "Xiao Zhang, calm down. Everyone was forced into a corner with no way out. We have to present a united front against the outsider." The Fairweather friends in the group quickly took the hint and started spamming the chat in agreement. I figured these cowards only just realized that I'm a far more terrifying lunatic than that old mad dog. Before, they could enjoy the show only because I was in a good mood and willing to stand up for them. Seeing that these bastards were completely intimidated and lined up on the same side, I slowly typed out a message. Rest easy everyone, if that old dog dares to knock on anyone's door tonight, just give a shout in the group. I'll personally show up and risk my life to play with him. As soon as I said that, the screen exploded with likes and worship. The old man turned out to be quite ruthless himself. He took action that very night. At midnight, while the whole city was asleep, my brain was still racing. A poor soul in Building 9 started sending frantic SOS signals in the group. Help, help, someone is frantically smashing my door. It's definitely that old psycho. He's actually wearing a burial suit for the dead. I'm scared to death. I took a closer look at the WeChat profile picture. What a coincidence, it was the same weakling who tried to force me to apologize earlier that day. Every cell in my body started celebrating, but I wasn't in a hurry to act. I just sat quietly in the group chat, watching this bastard's misery. The guy in Building 9 had completely lost it, spamming for help like a broken record. Big bro, I was wrong. I was blind. Please show your divine power and save my life. I replied unhurriedly. Just open the door and fulfill your promise. If not, call the police. Big brother, calling the police won't stop this old rascal. I'm really afraid he'll extort me into bankruptcy. I replied with 3 words. I'm afraid too. Big brother, I truly know I was wrong. It's all my big mouth's fault. I deserve 1,000 cuts. Just listen. Immediately after, he sent a video of himself frantically slapping his own face. The loud popping sounds made it hurt even to watch through the screen. He was certainly a ruthless guy to himself. Seeing that his attitude in admitting his mistake was passable, I threw on my jacket and headed straight for Building 9. Since it was a long night and I couldn't sleep anyway, I might as well meet this old pervert. Oh, old man, are you doing some underworld cosplay in the middle of the night? In the dim hallway, the old man was wearing a creepy black burial suit, sitting steadily on a small stool, holding a thermos and leisurely sipping hot tea. None of your business. Stop meddling. I didn't plan to meddle, I said without any emotion in my voice. Then, with a flick of my wrist, I twisted open the ultimate biochemical weapon I'd brought along, a can of surströmming. As soon as the lid opened, the old man was hit by the stench of fermented dead fish, his neck jerked, and he immediately started dry heaving. I held that box of biochemical weapon right under the old man's nose. He buried his head deep into his burial suit, trying to tough it out against me. But after less than 10 minutes of stubbornness, his face turned purple, and he almost passed out on the spot. Finally, unable to take it, he scrambled away, tripping over his stool and thermos as he fled in panic. I followed him like a haunting spirit. The old man ran ahead, dry heaving heart-wrenchingly. As soon as he ducked into his home, I made myself comfortable at his doorstep, set an alarm, and began smashing his door once every hour. Old man, since it's a long night and you can't sleep, why not come out for a seafood feast? Trust me, this stuff smells bad but tastes great, crunchy like chicken. Listening to the sounds coming from inside, it seemed the old geezer was throwing up his dinner from the night before. The next night, the old man still wouldn't give up, and moved on to another victim's door. Unfortunately for him, my scouts were now everywhere in the neighborhood. Once again, I brought the canned surströmming and played a solid game of biochemical cat and mouse with the old man. By the 3rd day, the old man had completely broken down mentally. He huddled inside his house, not even daring to step out. But that wouldn't do. Upholding the traditional virtue of hospitality, I smashed his door all night long, inviting him to sample the dead fish. Unfortunately, the old geezer showed no respect and just played dead without making a sound. You little animal, you don't sleep at night, do you? Fine. Next, this crazy old man actually ran out in the middle of the night for some hardcore morning exercise. This time he'd learned his lesson. He tightly strapped on an N95 gas mask. Coupled with the cold wind blowing outside, he actually managed to withstand my biochemical physical attack. However, because the mask was on too tight, this old wreck ran out of oxygen and fainted within minutes of grunting through his workout, his eyes rolling back as he slumped to the ground. I wasn't in a hurry. I just crouched nearby, quietly admiring his twitching. You little bastard. You're only acting tough because you catch up on sleep during the day, aren't you? Don't get cocky. From tomorrow on, I'll sleep during the day too. We'll wear each other out at night and see who's tougher, my old bones or you. Sure thing, old man. Let's see who turns into a zombie first. As it turned out, the old geezer could never have guessed that I was a severe insomniac who couldn't sleep even during the day. When daylight came and the old man tried to lie down and recover, I was there like clockwork, smashing his door every half hour. To be honest, after several days of this, I was starting to find it boring, especially seeing the old dog completely withered and afraid to face me head on. I instantly lost interest in even teasing him since I was tired of the appetizers. It was time to go all in and finish him off. I went straight to the group chat and exposed the sinister plot of the old geezer and his son to drive down prices and buy up the apartments. As soon as this news broke, the entire group chat exploded like a heavy bomb had been dropped. So that's why this old relic has been harassing us every day. He's been eyeing our property deeds. Damn him to hell. Isn't a creature this wicked afraid that the king of hell will come for him? Seeing the anger in the group was fully ignited, I stepped up at the right moment. If we pull this off, we can uproot this old thing and end the trouble forever. But let me be clear, if anyone leaks a word, we're all finished. The group immediately spammed messages pledging their loyalty to the unified front. After all, the whole neighborhood had suffered miserably because of that old dog. Seeing everyone's hatred, I laid out the entire multi-step plan in the group. Before long, a neighborhood-wide web of revenge was quietly spread. For the next whole week, whenever the old thing dared to make a sound and disturb my sleep, I would relentlessly tear into him. Meanwhile, several listings at broken bone prices started appearing on second-hand housing websites. Prices so low they were absurd. Real estate agents' phones were instantly overwhelmed with calls. Meanwhile, in the main neighborhood group where the old man was lurking, another group of owners had already started their acting performance. Have you all lost your minds? I emptied 6 pockets to buy this house and you're dumping yours so cheap? My last 5 years were for nothing. If you have any sense, take those listings down now or I'll pour red paint on your doors in the middle of the night. Who do you think you are? I can't even get a peaceful night's sleep in this dump. I've gone through a whole box of sleeping pills. If I don't escape now, am I supposed to stay here and wait for death? Exactly. One bad apple spoiled the whole bunch. If you're so capable, why don't you get rid of that old mad dog? If you can't handle it, stop shouting. All sorts of foul language flew around, and the acting was incredibly realistic. 2 groups of people were tearing into each other in the chat like Oscar-winning actors. Once the stage was set, I dropped a bombshell in the main group, certain that the old man was hiding behind his screen watching. Brothers, I can't handle this insomnia anymore. My body is completely ruined. I don't have the energy to fight that old animal anymore. Once my rent is up next month, I'm out. Take care, everyone. As soon as the message was sent, the group was filled with wails and pleas for me to stay. Don't go, hero. If you leave, who will deal with that old thing? Handsome, we're begging you. We'll chip in to pay your rent. Just please don't leave us behind. I cold-bloodedly clicked the leave group button, leaving them with a cool parting image. I knew without even thinking that the old geezer must be hiding under his covers laughing so hard his back teeth were showing. Right after, a dozen more listings at dirt cheap prices appeared online. And the prices of the previous ones dropped even further, like they were cliff diving. The property values of the entire neighborhood were forced down to half their original price. It was a pathetic sight. Bargain hunters were calling like crazy to inquire, but as soon as they heard about the Seco old man haunting the place, half of them were scared off instantly. As expected, the old man's son, the guy with full-sleeve tattoos, joined the fray. He bragged about how there was no such thing as a holdout he couldn't handle. Probably out of a guilty conscience and fear of being recognized, he even used a fake name with the real estate agent. But he never could have dreamed of one thing. The agent who received him was the son of my upstairs neighbor. Once they heard this fat pig had finally bitten the hook, all the owners pretending to sell their houses took turns pushing the deal along, locking in the low price. But everyone insisted on one condition, for this blood-vomiting price. It had to be a full cash payment, and proof of funds was required before signing. The reason was flawless. They were terrified the old psycho would jump out and ruin things, so it had to be done swiftly. This filial son thought it was airtight. After all, he knew best what kind of trouble his father had caused. The agent later revealed that this guy went crazy, taking out every bank loan and high-interest loan he could find. I had lured him into a revenge trap that was a guaranteed win for us. When he finally scraped the money together and showed the agent a screenshot of his balance full of zeros, all the landlords who had listed their houses suddenly changed their tune. As if by agreement, they all raised their prices on the spot. The filial son turned red with rage and started frantically calling the agent for an explanation. The agent just spread his hands innocently. The landlords changed their minds last minute. There's nothing I can do. If you're not satisfied, why don't you wait? Having already borrowed the money, the guy couldn't bear to return it, only able to watch as the high interest snowballed larger and larger. The owners slowly increased their prices by 10 or 20,000 at a time, dangling this mad dog along for a full month. By the time he finally realized he had been played and tried to pay back the money, the month of snowballed interest had already become a bottomless black hole he could never fill. Fools who dream of a free lunch usually die the most pathetic deaths. Seeing that his plan to buy the dip was a total failure, the filial son completely lost his mind. He actually went so far as to embezzle the old man's last bit of savings. He fell for the lies of some fake stock gurus in a group chat, and in a moment of madness, went all in on the stock market, hoping to make it all back and change his fate. The result was predictable, not even a splash. He was instantly trapped in a sea of red, losing everything down to his underwear. Debt collectors lined up at his door, with no way out. This bizarre father-son duo actually attacked a debt collector in desperation. They were hauled off in silver bracelets by the police that very day. One thing led to another, and the son was charged with massive fraud and document forgery. He got a luxury prison package with free room and board. When the old man heard the verdict in court, he couldn't catch his breath. His eyes rolled back, and he collapsed. This time, God stopped indulging him. After emergency treatment, he was left permanently paralyzed with a crooked mouth and slanted eyes, bedridden for life. He could forget about ever grunting through his exercises again. The landlord reported him to the police, and they forcibly took the childless, paralyzed old man away to the cheapest nursing home, where he survived on basic welfare. I heard the old thing spent every day there soaking in his own waste. The caregivers would slap him around whenever they felt like it. He was completely paralyzed and couldn't even move. His throat could only make a wheezing sound, and he couldn't even call for help. In this incredibly stifling and miserable way, he withered away for 30 days before finally heading to hell. After this epic battle, the whole neighborhood showed unprecedented unity and finally dug out this tumor without shedding blood. My landlord was so happy he couldn't stop smiling and waived my rent for a whole year. I grandly waved him off. Brother, I'm so poor that all I have left is money. Surprisingly, looking at the grateful smiles on everyone's faces in this reborn neighborhood, my stubborn insomnia was miraculously cured. I could fall fast asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow. In the end, I really should thank that dead old man. This round of fighting poison with poison completely dragged me out of the abyss of severe insomnia.